Good Saturday morning to everybody, and welcome to Mortgage Matters with Rob Weinberg. I'm Gary Byron. Glad to have you on board. Rob, how are you, buddy?
Doing well.
I see. I got to tell you. I see you brought a guest in this morning. I thought maybe you're bringing in your bodyguard. I was like, no one's trying to rough you up or anything, right? All you do is help people. So.
Yeah, it's Mr. Jerry Z, King of Real Estate.
Good morning.
Jerry Z.
Love the title. Yes, good morning.
King of Connecticut real estate, or is it all of Southern New England real estate?
Working on it, sure. Yeah, I'm a real estate professional and killing it out there in the market, working hard to help people. Yeah.
Good. How did you guys meet? When did you meet? Or
Mutual customer, actually, a client I had helped refinance a couple years ago on their property, and they were ready to buy their dream home. Upgrade a bit, and they were working with Jerry, so we had the opportunity to work together, and the transaction went really well. And as you know, with real estate, usually there's problems, and this one just really went through with flying colors. So nice. We hit it off. It went well, and we've worked on another couple deals since.
Yeah, and I've got, if you're in real estate, I got some questions for you. And by the way, folks, we got a little surprise for you towards the end of the show. I'll give you a little hint right now. You could walk away with something that's free. It's got an incredible value to it, like $500 value. Mm-hmm. You can get it absolutely free. I know you want more details. I promise you, at the end of the show, I'll give it to you. Really quickly, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so thanks, Gary. So, again, my name is Jerry Z. I've been in real estate for about 13 years.
Okay. Nice.
I work with a company called Rovithis Realty. We're out of Agawam is their world headquarters, we like to say. Wow. Just opened an office in West Hartford. We're expanding into Worcester County. Right now we're servicing Hartford, Tolland, Windham counties in Connecticut. Honestly, I live to help people get into and out of real estate and solve those problems. And, I just really love working with people.
What got you into real estate?
That's a great question. I mean, I think it probably started early, just, having an appreciation for homes and architecture, kind of where it started. And, and then 13 years ago, decided to get my license. It takes some time to get, like in anything else, to get your head around it and get good at it. And really now it's about solving problems. It's about helping people. Really significant. I mean, you can't say you find somebody a home they didn't think they could buy it, working with a good mortgage person and a good realtor. I've had feedback. Oh, that was the easiest thing. I thought it'd be so much harder. And now they're a homeowner. I just sold a property a couple weeks ago to a 23-year-old that never thought he could buy and change his kid's life.
Oh, it's just, young 23.
Yeah,
that's impressive. I'm with you. I mean, the things I'm learning from Rob Weinberg. I'm kind of the host of the show, and I'm learning things as I go along with. I didn't even know that there was really even. I'll actually say it's a necessity. I don't even think this is a luxury. I mean, what I'm learning from Rob every week is. I can't imagine now going forward not having a broker. Somebody, really, what you do in the ways that you're saving money, you're really saving people money, and you're showing them how to diversify. That if you've got ideas of buying multiple properties, for example, I'll give you an example of what I mean. I always thought to put as much money down on a piece of property that you buy so you can keep your monthly payments low. And not only did he explain to Rob, I'm pointing to Rob, but he articulated very, very, very nicely, very clearly why it's not necessarily a good thing. And I think most people wouldn't even know that. What is it like right now to be a home buyer in 2021? Is it?
It's
good or
yeah. I mean, I'm going to let Rob comment on that as well, but I would like to say it's an amazing time in history. We're talking interest rates so low, the lowest they've been in over 50 years, right? But then at the same time, one of the most competitive markets we've seen in a really long time. There's fewer listings on the market than there's been in 30 years.
So the inventory is low, which means if you know anything about supply and demand, that the price is going to be, with a low inventory.
You got it.
The asking price is going to be
lots of competition, and then just in terms of when you approach a property and you like it, last week I had a property up in Worcester. It doesn't matter. Connecticut, it doesn't matter. 15, 20 offers on a property is not that uncommon. We're talking 20, 30,000 over asking price. They're waiving inspections. They're waiving appraisals. It's gnarly. So there are some creative solutions. I mean, you got to have a proactive, aggressive agent like myself, but you have to have a good team you have to have some creative thinking in these times.
I'm going to
sure.
talk to you about the teamwork in just a moment. In fact, there's a couple of questions that are essential. But since I did ask you what it's like to be a home buyer in 2021, I guess the companion question to that is, what is it like to be a home seller in 2021?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't say this strongly enough. It is a seller's market. So since inventory is so low, simple supply and demand, somebody choosing to go on the market now can put it on for higher than expected and pretty much set the table themselves. They're going to have a huge pile of offers coming in. They're going to work with 20% down. Cash buyers are on the table. They're taking, if you have a home contingency, meaning you have something to sell next in a lot of cases, and they're picking and choosing who they're working with and the terms.
Well, they're selling their house high. That means they're buying their next house high, providing that they're staying in Connecticut. So you're really laying flat, right? I mean, you're making more. You're putting money in one pocket and taking it out of the other.
That's why the inventory's so tight.
Right.
Is because they know, I'm going to sell for a lot, but I'm going to buy for high too.
Rob, what are the benefits of working in tandem with a real estate agent?
I mean, a team,
from your perspective,
a team of an expert realtor and a seasoned mortgage professional, that's going to be an all-star team. I mean, there's other parts of the wealth team, appraisers, home inspectors,
Sure.
and, there's other people, but it's really going to start with a solid pre-approval from a mortgage lender. And, there are going to be problems. We have a buyer right now that's got some major employment issues, but we talked about them. We knew from the get-go, here's the problem. And this we talked about last week, switching jobs in the middle of a transaction. It's happening.
I have this buyer, by the way, so we're working this one together. It's been a challenge, but honestly, staying in communication with each other has been super helpful.
That's the key, and that's why a lot of the time someone will come to me with a realtor I've never worked with before, or no offense, but a part-time realtor that's only done a few deals. A friend, a family member. It's just in this market, you need the professionals. You need the wealth team to be working in tandem because there will be problems. But if we know about them, we can set the stage for everybody.
How often do you get to know the real estate agent intimately? Where you know them that.
Pretty often.
Okay.
That's why I prefer to work with ones that are on their game and know it. And it's not everyone. It's a small percentage of real estate professionals, especially in Connecticut, because I do business in other areas. I'm from Florida. I'm licensed in other states. I will say that Connecticut, unfortunately, there's a lot of amateur realtors out there in Connecticut. People that have only been doing it a short amount of time, have a couple transactions under their belt. Maybe they heard you could make money by selling real estate, so they sold a house for someone. Now they think they're a pro. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's just too many variables to risk it in this market.
Yeah. Jerry, you mentioned a moment ago that you're working with somebody together, actually.
Yeah.
23 years old, maybe he's changing jobs, got a few hoops he's got to jump through.
Yeah.
How challenging is it for somebody in their early to even mid-20s now to get a mortgage?
Well, I mean, it really depends on numbers. I mean, it doesn't really matter on age. So if they have a good job, their income looks good, their debt-to-income ratio is good, have at it.
But doesn't matter what the age is. They could be 19.
The reason why I say that is because usually you're still pretty low on the corporate ladder, providing if you're even going the corporate route. You could be in vocational. I mean, if you're doing electrical, I mean,
we can use education as part of an employment history. So if you're right out of college and you got a good job, we can move forward right away. We can use that history of your education as part of your mortgage qualification because everyone knows you're going to go to college. If you have a high-paying job, you probably are doing some sort of training or you had some sort of secondary education. So it's not as challenging as you think. But again, working as a team, we can identify those situations where there's a job change, there's an income issue, sometimes there's a property issue. He'll tell me, hey, Rob, this property's not going to pass an FHA appraisal. Here's why. We know that ahead. We can plan for it and tell everybody.
Rob, you mentioned having a good paying job. What's a good paying job?
A good paying job really just comes down to stability. Some areas in Connecticut, you could buy a house with $30,000 or $40,000 a year income. Other parts of Connecticut, maybe Fairfield County, you need close to a six-figure income, to make the numbers work. Taxes, insurance, the property prices. So it really comes down to, again, working with that expert agent that knows all the areas in Connecticut. It's not a big state.
Right.
You just need that realtor that's got the experience that can say, oh, yeah, that's your price range. The mortgage lender said you're approved for $200,000. Here's your target area.
What's the median income in Connecticut? Is it 50,000?
It really differs by
a different area.
Okay.
Connecticut by county. I mean, the Northeast to Fairfield is night and so it really depends on what county you're searching in.
To that point, then, Jerry, are you noticing that more young people in their 20s are obtaining mortgages now?
So
or-
yeah, one of the things we're looking at, and this is one of the things that I used to get buyers off the fence. Oh, I'm thinking about it. I don't know. So of course the interest rate is the first go-to. These are record low interest rates. So we don't know what's going to happen. We know now they're under 3. In a year, we don't know where they're going to be, right? That's number one. Right. Number two, we think it's competitive now. They're predicting that millennials are going to hit the market in the next year or two. They've been holding back because they watched their parents lose their shirt in 07, 08. They're a little more leery, but now they're at the point where they have jobs. They're ready to enter the market. So guess what? That market's going to get a lot more competitive in the next year or two.
Is that part of the strategy?
For sure, to get them out there, for sure. Somebody that's on the fence.
There's a lot that say to me that they're waiting for prices to drop. And a year or two ago, I would say, I understand. Now, prices aren't dropping. No. They are not going to be going down. Connecticut has been stagnant and decreasing for decades, as we've talked about. Yep. Now it's not anymore. So if you were waiting, unfortunately, you missed the bus. Now is the second best time to buy as it was a year or two ago.
Right. How do you get your offer noticed? How do you stand out from you? Because you mentioned just a few minutes ago, you said, well, you can theoretically have 20 people that are bidding on this home, and this person's going to offer all cash. This person's you're going to pay your. How do you stand out from the other 19?
Yeah, I mean that's a really good question because honestly, it's what he was saying before about how many part-timers, and it's amazing because I've had some listings. Some agents will just send you an offer. They won't even have a phone call. So number one, we have a very detailed offer package. It's bulleted out. These are the benefits of our client. This is how many deals we've done in this last year. We did almost 500 deals last year as a team. I mean, that's substantial. Not a lot of teams are doing that. We're functioning as a team, as not a single agent, but we have professional marketing. We have transaction coordinators. We have all of these pieces. We have experts plugged into the different parts. So that's number one. Are you working with a solo agent? Are you working with a team, right? So when we rate these offers up, we explain the different scenarios, right? So obviously, price is important. That is not the only thing, okay? So now a seller, like I said before, is choosing the format, right? So are you going to waive inspections, right? Are you going to cover the first $2,000 or $3,000 in the inspection to show the seller you're not going to nickel and dime them? Are you going to waive appraisal? A lot of times you can't do that. Can you do that? Do you have a home to sell, right? We've actually been using something a little bit creative, and this is kind of way out of the box. But let's say the seller has a home to sell, right? Obviously, so they're trying to buy something. They have a home sale contingency, which basically means that you're offering up that I have to sell this home.
A short sale.
No, not a short sale.
No?
So if let's say you are a buyer, right? And you have a home sale contingency. That means that
I can't buy that property until I sell mine.
This deal is contingent on me selling my home to buy this one. But if the seller has one also, now you have multiple contingencies.
It's a domino
if
effect.
one piece fails, the whole thing fails. So something that we've started to do, and we were talking with an agent on my team yesterday. So how we got his offer accepted, he offered to close on the property with the seller in, let's say, 40 days. Let the seller stay in there, rent it back to them for up to 3 months. So now what that did is two things. That showed the buyer's flexibility, right? But what that also did to the seller now doesn't own a home. They can lose their sale contingency. And now when they enter the buyer's market, they're higher in the chain. They don't have a home to sell.
That's a huge advantage.
So these are these really creative things that we're doing. Not a lot of people are doing it, but it can be really subtle things like making sure you have rapport with the listing agent, right? Making sure they recognize you, making them laugh, calling them, right? I mean, that sort of thing, just connecting, so they recognize you.
Are there different types of mortgages?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's advantages, of course, and disadvantages. But I think a big part of getting the offer accepted is the mortgage lender. Right. Because, of course, in a perfect world, you're going to go in with a cash offer, right? No contingencies, no issues. I've got the money in the bank. Let's close.
And they're out there.
They're out there, especially the ones coming from New York. You know, they sold a house maybe in New York and they pocketed $500,000. They can go and they can buy a house in Connecticut with no mortgage easily. Not that they should, but a lot are. So the reputation of the mortgage lender is huge. There's a lot of national mortgage lenders that are just spitting out pre-approvals like candy that mean nothing. And I think that the listing agents are starting to catch on that, oh, you're with, Rocket, for example, or Loan Depot, some of these national chains, the McDonald's of mortgages is really what they are. They realize that the person that wrote that pre-approval, and you can look it up online, they've only been doing mortgages 3 months. There's so much that they can lose. There's so many issues that can come up.
If that comes across, they'll question that. They might even throw it out. Okay. Working with somebody locally, something else that we're doing as well to get our buyers' offers accepted, I'll give them Rob's information. You call him directly. He'll vet my buyer. It sounds a little weird, but if a listing agent can then contact the mortgage person directly.
That's huge.
And Rob can go over and say they are solid financially.
A lot of these people I've been working with, though, for months and months. I mean, the buyer that I sent him, he's thinking of, I've been working with for over a year. Okay, I know their finances better than anyone. I know the problems. I know their credit. I've been coaching them on what to do with their credit cards, with their different debts, everything to get in their optimal scenario. So when that agent calls me, I can tell them the truth, not sugarcoat it and say, here's their scenario, here's the deal.
How often do you have a client and you're they're attending open houses, they're going to, you're showing them houses all around, exactly. Only to find out that you don't even know if they're even qualified for this home.
Right.
You could realistically be wasting not only their time, but your own time.
So that's amateur, by the way. So a real estate professional. So the name of the game is to get what's called belly to belly with a buyer. Okay. So if I take a lead in, comes from somewhere, comes from Rob, comes from anywhere else, my number one goal is to set an appointment with them. I want to meet them and show them a property within 24 hours. I don't even care if they're pre-approved at that point. Okay. I might ask them. Okay, I'm going to show them one. I'm going to meet them again. Rapport. This is still a person-to-person business.
Has less to do with the house that you're showing and more to do with letting them get to know you.
More to letting them know that I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. I got you. Okay, you got somebody. But I'm not showing them any more properties until somebody like Rob. And it's not just a phone call. That's what a lot of people will do, is a phone call, but they have to turn in the paperwork to Rob. So I'm not showing them properties unless they are officially pre-approved. And I tell them that's one of the things. Oh, I want to just go look at it. I'll do the pre-approval later. Guess what? The market is moving incredibly fast. You find a property you're going to want, you're not going to have time. Takes
Even
a couple
a day
of days.
or two later, if they get all their documents, that property's gone. And going back to talking about different types of mortgages, advantages, disadvantages, like I said, cash is king, but we're talking about mortgages here. So I would say the next best from a cash offer is going to be a conventional mortgage, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. You do need to have credit typically on the higher side. We're talking about high 600s, low 700s, minimum barrier to entry on that type of loan. Appraisals are a little more flexible with that. You can do down payments as low as 3 to 5% on a primary home. So that's going to be the next best thing to cash. From there, it's a matter of how much are you going to put down? 3%, 5%, 10%. Sometimes if there is multiple offers and you've got the money, you could come and say, well, I only want to put 5%, but there's all these offers. If I put 20%, I can win this deal, and we'll look at the finances. That's one scenario where it's sometimes you have to put a higher down payment to win that out. So that's the conventional. The ones that I think some real estate professionals don't like to see, which is really just myths like we talked about in the myth episode here a few weeks back. It really comes down to FHA loans, which are more flexible when it comes to credit, more flexible when it comes to income, but there are special issues that need to be addressed on an appraisal. It's a federally backed loan through the Federal Housing Administration. The appraisals are a little more strict. So sometimes if there's a few offers and you're FHA, they might not want your offer because they've got to fix the chipping paint. They have to fix the, the safety issues as far as handrails and things like that. So that can affect it. Now, the other one is VA loans for veterans. In my humble opinion, the number one best mortgage you can get is a VA loan. But appraisals are a little more strict on that.
And not everybody is applicable, right?
No, it's only for veterans and eligible veterans.
Right.
Again, part of the pre-approval process, we're going to pull a COE, which stands for Certificate of Eligibility, from the VA. And we're going to know that you're eligible for that loan. Can't just take you on your word.
Folks, you're listening to Mortgage Matters with Rob Weinberg. Special guest from real estate is Jerry Zolobkowski. Did I get that right?
You got that good. Most people call me Jerry Z,
Jerry
but
Z.
you nailed it, Gary. That's impressive.
Jerry, thank you very much. I've been trying all morning. From the name of the real estate company, is it Rovithis?
Rovithis Realty, yes. So that's named after the broker. He's been at it for, I think, 15 years at this point. It's sort of what we call not a craft. We're not a big brand, okay? So, yep.
You mentioned something earlier about amateur hour, and you can tell when someone's really been doing this for a year, and it's only a part-time even at that. But why? Why should I go? What difference does it make to a person who's, well, I don't know, I could save a percentage point. You're going to charge me 6%, they're going to charge me 4%.
Right. Well, it comes down to experience, right? So, if we're talking percent, right, listing versus buy, right? So if I'm on the buy side, the seller pays my commission, right? So my client doesn't pay me anything, right? If I'm on the list side, that's a contract that I negotiate with the seller. We like to say, we're not going to discount our services. Why? Because we're professionals.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give you HGTV level marketing. We're going to remarket on social media. We do it properly, okay? We defer showings, right? We do something called a mega open house. This is one of the things addressing home buyers, and they're leery of COVID, right? Yep. So anyway, just some strategies that we're using. But really, you want to work. It's experience. Until you've done a certain amount of deals, like one of the reasons I love it is that you have to be innovative and creative. Until you've done 50, 100 deals, you don't really know what to expect.
And every day is really different for you, isn't it?
Every day.
Even 1,000 deals in, every single one has a challenge.
You still learn something.
You're going to learn. And I have a notebook myself that every time I learn a lesson, I write it in that notebook and I fill that thing up every year.
Yeah.
And you think that you've seen it all and you haven't. It corresponds with the real estate side as well. On the boots on the ground, dealing with sellers, dealing with buyers. Right. The more experience you have, the easier it's going to be, the more stress-free it's going to be. Right. And I would tell you, ask buyers or sellers that use the discount agent, that use the amateur agent that was referred by their brother's cousin's uncle's sister, and ask them if they would pay an extra percentage point to have a stress-free process, to have a real pro involved.
Or a team.
Exactly. All these people on their side, and they would tell you it's worth every penny.
Right. Jerry, if someone is thinking of buying or selling, right? So what questions should they be asking to find, the right real estate professional to help them through this entire process?
We're kind of talking about, part-time versus full-time, and in terms of experience.
All right, so ask if you're part-time. How many deals that you've done, right?
Yep.
Go ahead.
How many deals have you done? The other question we should be starting to ask is, are you a solo? Are you an independent agent? Or do you work with a team? Okay. So talking to my broker just about coming on here, just some ideas. I mean, really the time of the solo agent, the independent agent are sort of going away. Okay. Things are getting a lot more complicated, a lot more high tech, okay, in terms of keeping abreast of things. And if you're firing on all cylinders from a marketing standpoint, from a negotiating standpoint, all of those things, it's really hard for one individual to do all of those things really well. So that's a good question to ask as well.
Okay.
Are you on a team? So with a team concept, my time is spent talking to people, showing properties, writing offers.
I'm running out of time, and I've got two key questions that I have to ask you before I go back to my teaser from the beginning of the show. Why should a person not be doing for sale by owner?
I mean, that's a great question. And one of the things we do is we reach out to for sale by owners on a regular basis, really as a place of help. Obviously we want to get them to work with us eventually, but as a place of help. So everybody thinks it's incredibly easy to sell a house. Why don't I just do it myself? So number one is exposure, right? So there's a couple of things in real estate. It's exposure, it's the condition, and it's the price. And if you mess up one or more of those things, you're dead in the water.
Well, and you want to get your house on the MLS too, right?
Correct. You can do entry only. That's something that the discounted ones that we alluded to, they'll charge you 1% or 2%, but you're doing it all yourself.
What about selling a house or a property as is? You talk about, well, I got chip paint here. I got to fix this bathroom. I got this little hole in the, what? But what if you just say, all right, listen, I can fix all this and I'm going to ask for this amount.
Yeah.
I'm not asking a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As is.
Yep.
But it's on you to fix this.
Yep.
But I'm going to sell it to you at a greatly reduced rate. Can you do that?
Of course you can do it. In fact, it's becoming more and more common in the seller's market. I would say 1 out of every 5 properties, just even nicer houses, fixer-uppers, it's as is, which means you can still do inspections.
Oh, that was my next
You
question.
can still do inspections, but they're for informational purposes only. So right up at the front, you say, do whatever inspections you want. Don't ask me to do anything. That's happening, okay? And, buyers are waiving inspections on a regular deal, which means they still may do it or not do it.
I thought that's state mandated. You can waive an
No.
inspection?
you can
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, that's up to the buyer.
Oh,
Absolutely.
wow.
Yeah,
I had no idea of that. All right. So, Mike, how can people reach you, Jer?
Okay. So, the easiest way, I do have a website, jerryzrealestate.com. I also have an email, jerryzrealestate@gmail. How easy is that, right? I also have a YouTube channel that I am, it's a burgeoning, I've been filming quite a bit and creating content. I've been interviewing local restaurateurs and whatnot, trying to get a presence. So Jerry Z TV is my YouTube channel. It's only a couple of things on there, but is a work in progress.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Exactly.
Jerry Z TV. You've heard it here first. All right, let's talk about the. You got a phone? We can go through your phone number, right? Can we go through a phone?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do that as well. 860-413-3938. I'll repeat that. 860-413-3938. Thank you, Jer. What I want to do is talk really quickly about this special offer. It's really a giveaway. It's a free appraisal up to a $500 value, providing that you go with both Jerry at Rovetis Real Estate and you go with Rob Weinberg as your mortgage broker. Not a bad deal. And you know what? Forget that incentive, the financial incentive, okay? You're going to want to have them work as a team just so you don't have any headaches. That's key in this. But we'll give you the $500 value for the free appraisal when you work with both of them. It doesn't get any better than that. Simply do this. Call the following phone number, 860-413-3938. Again, 860-413-3938. Or check them out. You can email them at mortgagemattersradioshow@gmail.com. Again, mortgagemattersradioshow@gmail.com. Incidentally, that's the same email address that if you've got a question that you'd like to have answered on this show, that you should email us. We'll be happy to get that answered for you. Thank you very much, Jerry. We really appreciate your time this morning from Rovetis Real Estate.
Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure. And for Rob Weinberg, I'm Gary Byron. Thank you so